Cameron Dory, is going to talk about a millennial-old myth in a very modern form. So come on up, Cameron.
So, go, please. So basically, I wanted to tell a story of a couple of old friends who got together and wanted to take an old Persian book called the Shahnameh, which is chronicling Persian mythology, and turn it into a modern American comic book. And most of you here will probably recognize two of the people on the screen. The one in the middle is Ferdowsi. He's also a giant of literature, happens to be in Western Asia, and he wrote this book called the Shahnameh, which is an epic poem. And he's very well known in sort of Western Asia, Middle East, and also Central Asia. And all of these countries that were formerly part of the Persian Empire, he left a legacy of his poetry. And some facts about the Shahnameh: this was a work that took over 30 years to write. It's a single poem that's over 100,000 verses. It's over 7 times larger than the Iliad. It comprises of 62 stories, and it's nearly 1,000 chapters, written well over 1,000 years ago. And there is an old Persian tradition of storytelling with pictures. And this can be seen with illuminated manuscripts. Some of those books are in museums, and single pages can sell for millions of dollars. And there were also a tradition of professional storytellers who would have these big paintings done on a cloth, and they would roll them up and go from village to village, set them out, tell the story, and then quote verses from this epic poem. And there's a lot of national identity wrapped up in this poetry, as well as a lot of sort of morals that can be derived from the trials and tribulations of the heroes as they battle demons and their kings, and all sorts of superhuman feats. This gentleman picking up the elephant, his name is Rostam. He's the greatest hero. And so we tried to take that, and we decided to look at it and bring it to a much broader world audience. And our influences, of course, were Persian miniatures, but also we were influenced by where we had lived, which was the Middle East, and we'd also lived in Europe, and we'd lived in Asia, we'd lived in North America, and so we were also inspired by manga. We were also inspired, of course, by the American comic book genre, and as I had mentioned, European comics. So the three of us had lived in all these different continents and been exposed to those, and sort of came with a unique blend of the three. And so this is kind of early character development of some of the heroes. On the right hand, sorry, to your left, it's Rostam, and these were the sort of first character developments that we came up with as we started translating some of these poems. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the comic book process, this is kind of how we did it. First you write your script, then you get your illustrator to start doing the rough sketches, then you do your final pencils, and once those are sort of fixed up, then you get into 2 other processes. One is coloring, and the other is lettering. And finally, we have a sort of a production artist who's going to put all of these together and get the books ready to be sent off to the printers. Now, one of the sort of discoveries and surprises that we had as we started getting into it was we started finding this story sounds really familiar. I've seen something else that sounds just like this. although these were written well over 1,000 years ago. And not only when they were written, they were referring to stories that were thousands of years old. So here we had this demonic figure, the white demon, and he has his assassins that he sets on tasks to go out there and kill some of his rivals. And I've put little pictures in the bottom corner of sort of similar storylines. We have a great hero who's battling his internal demons. And also, this hero has to face his own son in a fight to the death. So these are stories that were very ancient. And although we stayed very true to the Persian tradition of the Shahnameh, in some cases, because it was a comic book, we had to sort of change some of the stories. We created the Red Demon. In fact, Rostam gets attacked by an army of demons, and we didn't have enough space to put a whole army, so we decided to create this. And this gentleman, Turaj the assassin, Rostam is actually attacked by 7 different assassins, so we took all the powers of the different 7 assassins and put them all together and made one big, and he has 7 different ways in which he could kill Rostam. And so we did stay very true to the original, but we made some changes. So far, we've come out with 3 books. The first is a story of Rostam and his son. The second one is a story about the king Kay Kavus and how he